Our first speaker today is Alison London Brown of UVision 360. Alison?
Good afternoon. I'm Alison London Brown, and I'm here to talk to you about women's health. So we could start a conversation just with that opener, correct? As I only have 2 minutes, I'm going to give you a brief overview of our company. But as we're talking about women's health, I want you to take just a minute to think about a woman in your life, your wife, your mother, your sister, maybe yourself. And that woman has a problem. She has a persistent condition that it consists of pain, bloating, and abnormal uterine bleeding. And this goes on for a while. And so she finally goes to her doctor, and the doctor will perform a typical procedure, which is called hysteroscopy. And it uses a very small camera. It's similar to a colonoscopy that many of you may have had. And much like a colonoscopy, you have to schedule a time, you must go to the OR or to a outpatient clinic. You have sedation, anesthesia, and it may take 3 to 4 weeks to get your diagnosis. Now imagine that you could do that same type of work with limited to no anesthesia in your doctor's office at the time that you go see your doctor. That's what we're doing. UVision 360 is simplifying the way that women can get diagnosed and actually have operative therapeutics right in the office. We have an all-in-one system that costs less than $6,000 and is comparable to the tower systems available today that cost upwards of $50,000. With this, we will have a faster time to diagnosis. We will have better outcomes for patients and physicians because today, up to 1/3 of biopsies and polyp removal are actually done blind. And so with our device, you're actually able to take that biopsy while you're seeing the tissue that's affected. And lastly, we're cost effective. We are much lower cost of capital to the physician. We have a lower copay for patients because, again, it's in the office. And for the overall healthcare system, it's a much cheaper alternative than going to the OR. We have $100,000 left in our Series A round of $2 million. And many of you here have contributed to that, so thank you very much for that. We are in the process of finalizing our IP portfolio. We will file our 510K in third quarter and launch in November of this year. I'd be thrilled to talk to you more about our product and show you a sample if you're interested. Just come see us during the networking break. Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to meet with Alison, please meet her in the innovation room. That's as you exit, it's on your right. Next up for the presentation is Rahul Puri of OncoTAb.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rahul Puri, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of OncoTAB. Last year on this stage, I told you the story of Hallie Layton. Hallie had a family history of breast cancer. Because of that, she started screening mammography early in life. Despite being proactive, Hallie's stage 4 tumor, the size of a tennis ball, was repeatedly missed by mammography. Her tumor was missed because Hallie has something called dense breast tissue, which can hide a tumor on a mammogram. Unfortunately, Hallie died at the young age of 42. Roughly half of the women in the United States have high-density tissue. Mammograms miss 50% of the tumors in these women, resulting in late-stage diagnosis, higher treatment costs, and increased mortality. Consequently, 28 states have passed breast density notification laws, informing the women of their risks and suggesting supplemental testing. I'm very pleased to share with all of you that OncoTAB has used its patented technology platform to develop a simple blood test to aid in the early diagnosis of breast cancer in these women. This test monitors a tumor-specific protein in circulation, and it's called the Acura Personal Score. In a blinded study, the Acura Personal Score has demonstrated the ability to detect breast cancer up to 2 years before mammography. We are very excited to share that we already have 15 physicians who are ordering this test for their patients, And our goal is to reach 150 physicians ordering this test by the end of this year. The total addressable market of this test is huge, $8 billion in the US, and it's much larger globally. For example, women in China and Japan and the Far East, 70% of them have high-density breast tissue. Our mission is to help the Halleys of this world, and we are seeking capital as well as partnerships. Please join us in the innovation room to learn more about us. We have a very exciting portfolio of products, and I thank you for your attention.
Our next speaker is Dinah Zen of Agile Sciences.
We are losing the war against bacteria. In 2050, the cost of antimicrobial resistance will be 300 million premature deaths and $100 trillion lost in the global economy. Every time we throw a new antibiotic against these superbugs, they figure out what we're doing, work together to acquire new defenses, and just get nastier. And so we're locked in this perpetual arms race. At Agile Sciences, we are taking a revolutionary strategy to fighting these superbugs by taking out their communication systems. We are developing proprietary small organic molecules that inhibit the response regulator proteins of their signaling two-component systems so they can't sense and respond to the environment. So this takes away their ability to get messages out from central command. So when we hit them with a nuke, in our case, an antibiotic, they can't respond and defend themselves. Now, this is a unique approach because we're not just hitting them with a modified next-generation antibiotic that, unfortunately, they're likely to develop resistance to in about a year or so. Instead, by taking out their communication systems, we are essentially making them blind sitting ducks. And this makes our current weapons, current antibiotics, effective again. So we've shown that this technology works in animals, and over the past year, we've made compounds that are 10 times more potent. We're currently assessing these in animal trials. We've received over $10 million in small business grants and contracts, and we're currently looking for partners, collaborators, and investors to help us take this technology into the clinic. We'd love to have the opportunity to speak with you and tell you more, so please stop by our table at the Innovation Room. Thank you.
Our next speaker is David Muth from Neuro Pharmacologies.
Good afternoon. Today I'd like to introduce Neuro Pharmacologies to you, discuss our science, and describe a unique investment opportunity. We are a biopharmaceutical company developing orphan neurological therapeutics. Our lead program is focused on hemiplegic migraine. However, given our science and our broad patent coverage, we anticipate being able to develop a number of additional orphan therapeutics. Cortical spreading depolarization is characterized by excessive extracellular potassium, which causes a wave-like motion across the brain, responsible for a number of neurological diseases. Our scientists have discovered that the PKG pathway actually controls CSD, cortical depolarization, and that inhibitors of the pathway, the PKG pathway, actually can arrest potassium efflux and stop cortical spreading depolarization. Hemiplegic migraine is an orphan disease, and it's a very, very severe form of migraine where the patients experience not only all the typical auras, but they also experience a paralysis on one side of the body. The paralysis then leads to the pain, and some patients actually experience as many as 15 episodes a month. Our lead program, we've demonstrated superior efficacy versus other PKG pathways in insects and rodent models, and we're currently working on the additional studies required to file our IND within 18 to 24 months, which will then allow us to file our phase 1 trial, or to complete the phase 1 trial in approximately 3 years' time. We believe that with demonstrated efficacy in hemiplegic migraine patients, that Neuro Pharmacologies would be an attractive IPO candidate at a significantly greater step up in valuation. So in closing, we're a team of very seasoned pharmaceutical executives who have developed and commercialized a number of pharmaceuticals both at big pharma and orphan biotech companies. And if you are an interested investor in a unique orphan drug opportunity with the potential for significant liquidity opportunity in as little as 3 years, we should sit down at a meeting later on today. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Suzanne Babcock of CivaTech Oncology.
CivaTech has developed implantable radiation devices that deliver hotter doses and are unidirectional to protect healthy tissues. We have 2 FDA-cleared products. They're both on the market. We have 2 reimbursement codes, and we have clinical evidence in multi-indications. We had some exciting recognition in 2016 where our first patient who was treated with a CivaSheet, the first paper associated with that was won the Best of Show in the World Congress meeting. Our unidirectional technology has been used in head and neck cancer, colorectal cancer, pelvic region cancers, gynecological cancers, and pelvic sidewall recurrence. We have upcoming cases treating brain cancer and pancreatic cancer. The NIH recently granted us a $2.3 million grant to treat pancreatic cancer for patients who are resectable. There are 11,000 patients in the US who have resectable disease, and those are our target markets. Early results from 20 patients treated in 6 different institutions with the CivaSheet have been absolutely remarkable. Likewise, 50 patients have been treated for prostate cancer and have had less side effects. This is an exciting time for the company. We are looking for growth capital, and we're looking for the funding to scale and to grow. Thank you very much.
So our next speaker is Frank Wang of BioMedomics. Frank.
My name is Frank Wang. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called BioMedomics. So I have my hand with my product. Maybe I can show you what we do. Basically, BioMedomics is ISO certified point-of-care diagnostic company. We focus on blood disorder disease test and also future time result point-of-care platform technology development. So we have 4 products already in the market to get a CE mark approval. So in my hand right now, actually one of best, our most sellable products called the sickle scan. And this test actually very simple to use and take just 5 minutes, get a result about the sickle cell disease and also sickle cell trait. And it is very popular in our product sales right now. So we sell this sickle cell test for over 20 countries at this point. And also we have other products like alpha cell scan and hemo scan. And recently we launched another product called hemoglobin S monitor test for monitor sickle cell disease treatment. So our product compared with a traditional this kind of test is that other test is very expensive, very difficult to use, also require highly skilled technician to use. For our test, it's very to use and only take few minutes. So it's very easy for a lot of places to be deployed and very popular among our users. So our test really answers a lot of needs questions and address a very big market. For example, in India, this country alone, every year we need a test for 50 million, 50 million tests for sickle cell disease because they have government program to do this. And for us, our company, we already raised $2.2 million from angel investor as this far. And at this point, in order to fund our future growth, for in the FDA trial 510K, and also market sales and the manufacturing, we are asking our investor for $2.5 million investment. We already have $500,000 in our already secured, and I hope more people coming for this run. And we also have a booth in the innovation room, table 4. I'm very glad to meet with you and answer your questions. Thank you.